So students are the best part, to be very honest. Like when you teach, when you see that, you see on their faces that they got something right, and that makes you kind of feel happy. And it's not that you feel happy in a very self-satisfying way. You feel happy that you have done your job because you are also taking from somewhere and kind of passing on, right? Maybe you do something in that so that it is passed on in a better way, right? But you are not adding anything too much in terms of the material point of view. You are just giving it a shape that it is easily digestible or easily kind of taken in, right? So teachers are like a, conduit. It's taken from reservoir of knowledge and processing it to make it like, shape, and everything is well taken up by the students. So in that sense, that I feel really happy that okay, I was able to transform this into a shape which was kind of easily digestible or you know nourishing for students, so they are able to take it. So I can feel it when I do this. I can feel it on the faces of my students, and that is the most satisfying part. So students are the most satisfying part. See, my PhD topic is, I think, under research, and it should be studied more. Then my PhD topic was on silver nanoparticle recovery from laundry wastewater. And when I went there, like when I used to go to the conferences, I was the only one who used to work in this area. And there used to be many big professors from other universities also. They used to say, why bother to work on the, like, why are you worried about recovering silver nanoparticles from laundry wastewater? And I used to come up with this lot of economic model and say if it will make sense, and then we can kind of lot of things I used to explain. Uh, but at some point, I also got convinced that okay, maybe what they're saying is there is not enough in that sense. Like, but then I realized that even if you take any human life, right, it starts and it ends, right, somewhere. And uh, if you look at totality, right, everything is going to dust, right, and the entire planet will go one day to dust. Everything's like that. So what is the purpose of all this when things are like have no value or something like that? So from that perspective, I thought maybe even if it has zero value, but if you look at zero very closely, you can separate it into two parts, right? And then you can further explore these parts, and then the total sum makes zero, but there are interesting things within zero. So that kind of motivated me like to explore more of my work, and I thought that okay, whatever it is, I will do a good science. So whatever it is, I will do it in a like really scientific and as a bulk of science rather than like you know just for the PhD pieces. And then things started to work out when I changed this perspective. I will not say any topic or something is really underestimated. I think the way we approach thing needs to change. We are not looking at things like you're always looking in a very much goal oriented manner. Some of the things may not be kind of very much ready to be applied somewhere, right? But still they have the potential to give you knowledge, right? And then it should be explored for its own sake. Like people say art for art's sake, right? There is the term art for art's sake. I think there should be a similar term, science for science sake, right? I think one should plan first. I did not plan, so that was one of the challenges I faced during my PhD years. Uh, Second challenge is like, and I think challenge, I should not say this is the challenge and that you start planning ahead, right? That is also, I think, real. There is some flaw in there. Challenge has to be met on its own terms, right? It comes to you, and then you take it, and there is an opportunity to grow with challenge, right? So we should not like give advice that you avoid this challenge or you work around this challenge. Like I would say, Just do whatever you like with all your heart. Hmm? Know your commitments, what you have signed up for before signing up, and then try to fulfill your commitments. And when challenges come, take it up, face it, and then you will grow with it. So challenge is something like it's an opportunity, right? It will give you some scope of kind of knowing things better. Like you should not kind of plan ahead. Let it come. I'm not saying like in that sense that you should have zero planning, but be little flexible with your planning. Have something set up in your day to day life like that. Suppose you want to become something, right? You plan for that. You put your focus on goals rather than challenges, and you incorporate your goal in your day to day life, right? So challenges will also start to come in little small doses, right? And you should be aware of that. And then if you are overcoming that challenges daily, so you are basically preparing yourself for a bigger challenge. Suppose what is your like what do you want to do apart from science things that you're doing? Is there like you want to have certain like I always wanted to be a poet writer or something like that. So I used to keep a certain hour of my day to write, no matter what. So that way, like small steps, right? Baby steps over the years, it adds up. So I'm not saying I have become a perfect writer. I still struggle. So these are the challenges. So challenges are function of your efforts, right? More effort you will put, the challenge level increases, right? And if you're at the basic level of effort, you will get basic kind of challenges. And if you're not overcoming it, you are not basically making more effort to rise to the bigger challenges. So I think try to make things as a part of your daily ritual, and then you start taking steps daily. So you will get daily some challenges, and as you improve, your challenge will improve. And challenge is the way, a kind of stepping stone to further go to the next level or something like that. So once you overcome something, you go to the next challenge. It's always challenge. There is no challenge free situation, okay? Every time you have something. Yeah, one of the most and commonest refrain I have seen, people confuse environmental science and engineering with environmental activism. Okay. They think, okay, if I'm an environmental engineer, I'm not saying everybody should be an environmentalist. I'm not saying. But being an environmental engineer doesn't necessarily make you an environmentalist. Okay. You can have certain positions as the human being regarding your environment, right? But that position does not necessarily require you to become an environmental engineer. So, environmental scientists or engineering are very much involved in a very scientific way to understand the environment, right? So, their main purpose is to create knowledge, scientific knowledge about environment first. And then once that knowledge has been created, right, then you should come up with ways to devise systems, machines, equipment, process, such that that knowledge can be kind of input or implemented in that whatever framework you are creating, right? And then it should be able to kind of you should be able to look at the environmental problems purely from science perspective, right? Whatever thing is coming in, whatever is going out, how much, say, energetically you can do it, economically you can do it, right? What would be the kind of byproducts and things like that. So you have to have very measured and calibrated environmental engineering approach. So many people I have noticed they confuse this first of all. Second is that not many people kind of look at environmental engineering as something that is which is the kind of a very significant part of all science and engineering, right? Any engineering domain you go, right, they are creating waste. Like whatever activity you do, end product is a waste, right? There is a waste, right? So many times, like they don't have this perspective that they are kind of present in a shadow manner in all the domains of science and engineering, in all the domains of manufacturing, right? So I think if they understand it better, they can kind of communicate it to the other scientists and engineers better. So that environmental perspective is missing from many other domains, right? Like if you talk to chemical engineer, they will always look from process efficiency, thermodynamics perspective, right? But an environmental engineer can have this perspective as well as environmental perspective, right? So they can do much more, like in terms of kind of bringing or making this point, like there is much more like environmental impact over everything we are doing than just environmental engineering should be concerned about. If you want to balance something, suppose you have certain personal commitment and you have certain professional commitment or academic commitment, right? See how much time you are having in your daily routine, right? And then you try to do that part first, which is the most difficult. In that sense, which least interests you, but it is very important, right? So do it the first thing that you do, right? And interest is a function of engagement. If you sufficiently engage with something, interest develops, motivation comes in. It's not the other way around. It's not that you are interested and then you will get engaged with something. It's the reverse. Like if you engage more with something, you will start to get interested more. More ideas will start to flow in inside your head. You will be more curious about things, right? Also, more ideas will come, more motivation will come. So it's always the engagement which is the driving thing here when it comes to activities. More you engage, more interest it will kick in. So now, if something is least interesting to you, but you think it's really important, do it first. And you will notice that interest starts to sink in, come in, ideas start to kick in, and then you are able to kind of drive things around. Because whatever is more so-called interesting to you, you will anyway do it, right? Anyway do it. So do it at the end. Okay. So make a list of things that are important, time you have available with you, and allocate things, list interesting things at top. And you don't have to sit for hours doing something. Plan like in a short, small baby steps. But if you do it daily, you can count on it. Like if you sit, say, for 30 minutes, 7 days, 30 minutes, 3.5 hours a week, 30, you multiply, you do the math, right? How much? 105 hours in an year of it, 1200 hours. It's a lot. There is a book called 10,000 hour principle, right? That if you do something for 10,000 hours, right, you become an expert, right? For 10,000 hours. So you do the math, 8 years, maybe 8, 9 years. So you start now, maybe by the time you're 4 to 5 years after graduating from here, and and it's early. I'm saying if you graduate from here and within 4 to 5 years, you have become expert at something, it's early. I'm telling you, most people don't do it. So they become expert at 50 or something. Okay. You become expert, say, at 30 or something. You are 20 years ahead of the curve, right? So that's very important. So you need to plan. You need to first see what is what is it that you really want to do, right? And I tell you, interest is a misleading thing. Look at from this perspective, like what can engage you for a longer time. Okay. Then interest will kick in.